This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning. Black Hat, rated R.
Come on, Harry!
Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
That's insane. These guys are morons!
I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13. Now playing.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
We are living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to WTF. I am your host, V. Wright.
And I am the lovable and huggable little fuzzball, Jose Estevez. Folks, we are coming to you live, unrehearsed, unscripted, and unpolitically correct. PG-13, but never PC. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot radio show.
Yes, sirree. The lovable, what was that? The lovable, huggable, squeezable. What was that?
Not my best moment to ad-lib, so let's just move right on past that.
No, I'm going to keep that one going. Have you got on your sweater vest tonight?
No, I do not have a sweater vest on tonight. I'm a little bit more casual down here in the bunker tonight. No, I do not have a sweater vest on.
Well, you know, we've got so much going on tonight.
We need like 3 or 4 hours, really.
We could really breeze through 4 hours tonight. That is no kidding, folks. If this is the first time you've listened to our show, welcome to the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot show here on CPR Worldwide Media Network. You can check us out on our website, www.thewtfradioshow.com. If you'd like to contact us, look at old videos, listen to old shows, what have you, all of it is located right there on our website. Please feel free to do so. Also, you can like our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is WTF, the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, right there on Facebook. Tonight, we've got a special guest coming in a little bit, Mr. James Neighbors, who is the founder of the Overpasses, and we're really looking forward to that. If you would like to call in during our show, please do so at 313-462-0068. We would love to hear your questions, comments, statements of fact. Senor.
Yes, let's jump right in. Like you said, we've got so much information. I mean, we love our guests, but then, of course, less time for us to go over information. And nowadays, folks, within 24-hour news cycle, there's so much new stuff coming out, but there's still some things that we definitely want to cover tonight. And, of course, let's just start out with the big one today. If you have been hiding under a rock, you probably haven't seen it or heard of it, but everyone else, you've probably seen the video or at least heard of this brutal video of ISIS. Hey, our Coranimals in black pajamas, they are definitely around, folks. Just because they're not in the news as much doesn't mean they're not out there. Now, this happened a month ago, but a Jordanian pilot was shot down and captured by ISIS, and back about exactly a month ago, January 3rd, he was brutally murdered, folks. He was put into a cage, like an animal, and then they had this trail of gasoline, like you see in like even a Bugs Bunny, I think, stuff like that, and they lit it, and you see the gasoline going towards him and then just engulfing him. He had gasoline on him as well, or some sort of flammable liquid, and it's horrific, vicious. To say it's vicious and barbaric, this makes the beheadings, I mean, it just goes to a totally different level. They want people to know they're still out there, I guess. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to say about this. First of all, our very own Hussein had to make his own statement. He was talking about vaccinations today, but he had to make a short statement about what happened. And I'm going to ask him, first of all, hey, Hussein Obama, how about you vaccinating us against Islamofascists? Of course, now I realize this is just a small percentage of them is what they want us to believe that are doing things like this. But here's his statement. You need to hear it in his words, folks. Here it is. Should, in fact, this video be authentic, it's just one more indication of the viciousness and barbarity of this organization. Notice he says organization. He does not even refer to them as ISIS, ISIL, Islamofascists, Muslims, nothing. He just says the barbarity of this organization. And then he goes on to say, and I think, which is, of course, a very firm and decisive thing to say, right? And I think we'll redouble the vigilance and determination of the global coalition to make sure they are degraded and ultimately defeated. And it also just indicates the degree to which whatever ideology they're operating off of is bankrupt. He won't even say they're Muslims, they're Islam, nothing like that. He doesn't say anything. He says whatever ideology. We're here to talk about how to make people healthier and to make lives better. And this organization appears only interested in death and destruction. Once again, not referring to them as even ISIL, which is what he typically likes to call them. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you one thing. Try as I might, and I've read it over and over again. In his statement, I cannot find the word Islam or Muslim at all, at any point, except for the word Obama. But other than that, I can't find anything. I mean, this is coming from the mouth of Hussein Obama himself. Does not even acknowledge a name, like I said, not even calling them ISIL. And he says, I think we should redouble our efforts. Wow, I'm glad we've got a real good leader there that wants to get out and kick these people right in their asses, which is what they need.
Well, I don't know if you actually saw the video. Have you seen the video?
I did see the video with some people at work, and we were just like, wow. Once was enough.
It has taken them a month, honestly, to make the video.
The video is very slick and polished, folks. And what I mean by that, they've got like when the flames are coming down the trench where they've got this liquid poured going towards the cage that the gentleman is in, the Jordanian pilot, may he rest in peace. They've got it in slow motion and stuff like that. I mean, this is high quality Hollywood stuff, slow motion, all kinds of techniques. I would say to see it just for that, just so you get an understanding of what we're up against, how technologically proficient they are. But of course the video, like I said, the end result is a man being burned alive, and it's horrific, just horrific. But yeah, the quality of the video, and I'm not giving them any credit, I'm just saying the quality of the video, they didn't just take a video and put it on the internet. It's not nearly as simple as that.
Well, besides, first of all, I want to say thoughts and prayers to that man's family.
Amen.
To have your loved one assassinated in such a manner, and then it displayed in such a horrific fashion nationwide or globally. And to be tormented by the constant chatter and pictures and everything else, it's got to be horrendous. I cannot imagine. But I'm going to go back and say this. Everybody says, well, how do you know that that this was done over a month ago? Well, if you guys remember 2 weeks ago, they had a Japanese man there that they did indeed execute as well. They assassinated him as well, and these are assassinations. They're just plain and simple. But they forced him, when they were taking his picture, trying to do non-real negotiations, to hold up a picture of this pilot that we got the video on today. Mm-hmm. And one of the interesting things in that picture is that you do see that he is standing in that cage. You can line that up with a shot from this film.
Right.
And so he was holding that 2 weeks ago. The hope was that the Jordanians were going to jump out of the coalition, and that they would be able to force more Muslim countries to back down. Although a lot of people in Jordan are calling for them to disengage with ISIS, the Criminals. They came forward today and said, nope, we are not. In fact, we're doubling down, which I am glad to see. In so much as they had been offered just 2 weeks ago. Now the guy has been dead for 2 weeks at this point. 2 weeks ago, they offered to return him in trade for a bomber, and Jordan is now retaliating by tomorrow. They will be executing the bomber and 10 more Al-Qaeda Al-Qaeda people that they have.
Right.
And that
bomber that V is talking about, folks, that bomber that V is talking about, that's a female. She was a failed suicide bomber, and a female at that. So they're going to take her out. So while the Jordanians move quickly to execute at least 6 terrorists, if not more, our very own Hussein Obama continues to work on releasing more of his brethren from Gitmo on a daily basis, it seems like. Isn't this something? Meanwhile, back at Club Gitmo, lunch is served on silver platters with halal snacks. I mean, come on, folks. What the heck?
I mean, what other things, I mean, as horrific as this was, in all honesty, this was absolutely horrific. And, as much as we would like to think, this is just the extremist side of this particular group, just 3 days ago, ISIS threw another gay man. Now, we've already heard about this once, but they threw another gay man from one of their high-rises, and when he failed to die from the fall when they threw him off the building, the people in the city came forward and stoned him to death.
So where's all the gay people protesting against this, and all the females? The female subjugation. Where's all your NOW organization? Where's all your other organizations coming out, folks? Because this is not just ISIS. This is Islam at its most brutal. And don't tell me it's just a very small percentage of them, because I don't see the rest of them out there protesting it. And let's not forget, this Jordanian pilot is a Muslim himself, so they kill their own. They definitely are going to kill the infidels, and they definitely do kill the infidels. There's also a story I don't have right in front of me that ISIS over in Iraq now is having a sort of a Craigslist thing where they're taking furniture, personal possessions, all kinds of belongings that they've taken from Christians in Iraq, and that they've either brutally murdered or they've made, these people have left the area, and they're taking this and they're kind of doing a Craigslist garage sale type thing for pennies on the dollar of what it's worth, raising money to continue doing what they're doing. I mean, this is just, it's something else. And let me tell you one more thing. Why don't you look into Jordan and see what ISIS is trying to do in Jordan? Why would they want to destabilize Jordan? Why would they want Jordan? Remember something about a caliphate over in the Middle East? Folks, this is another brick in the wall of that caliphate. Don't you forget it. Look at who the rulers of Jordan are. The king is of Jordan and that family, and look at why the Muslims might want that to be another brick in the wall of the caliphate. That's what all of this is about throughout the Middle East, ever since the Arab Spring began. Shortly after our very own Hussein Obama took over. But I'm sure it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Well, it's got to be a coincidence. I mean, that's just like, it's just a coincidence that Bo Bergdahl, came back with his head attached, and that the people traded for him were the most dangerous, cutthroat individuals sitting over at Gitmo. That was
wait a minute. You mean those 5 top Taliban commanders?
Yeah,
because you're absolutely wrong. The regime just said the other day that the Taliban is no longer a terrorist organization.
No, they are
not. I mean,
not.
Can you believe the temerity of this regime?
They are an insurgency. But, these guys that threw the gay guy off the high rise, and then, that was ISIS. That was the extremist part of it. But those nice moderates are the ones that stoned him to death when he didn't die from the fall.
Right. Good point. Folks, if you don't think it's coming here, and if you don't think this is real, then you better get the sand out of your eyes, because you got your head buried in it.
Wait a minute. I got to nail this. Folks, to go even further, if you think it's not coming here, if you think it's not going to touch you, let me tell you about UC Davis. UC Davis had an anti-Israel swastika fest boycott, in which the Muslim students gathered and chanted Allah Akbar.
That's a dangerous combination right there, folks.
So don't tell me it's not here in the United States of America,
it's here.
And don't tell me that there is not a danger, and do not tell me that there is moderate Muslims. There are Muslims who do not practice their faith. Okay, fine, that's fine. They call themselves Muslims because their parents were Muslims. They did come here and somewhat assimilate, but they are few and far between. And let me tell you something else. This crap gets to kick in here in the good old USA. They will not be moderate Muslims. They will be in or they will be dead, just like the rest of us if we don't nip it in the bud now.
Well, very succinctly said. I agree. Totally agree. And folks, it's a real problem, and it's taken over the Middle East. It's sweeping it like wildfire over there from country to country to country. And guess what? members of our regime have their hands so dipped in blood, it's not even funny. You got Hillary, who, the guy in Libya, she wanted him out. Help me out, V, with the name of the guy in Libya that's no longer
Assad.
with us. No, not in Libya. The one that Reagan dropped a couple bombs and killed a couple of his kids when he gave us a bunch of stuff back in the 80s.
Oh, I remember, and I can't
See?
remember.
Isn't that something? But you folks know who I'm talking about. Oh, God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. But, I mean, country after country in the Middle East, folks. Hillary Clinton was involved in it. Barack Obama has been involved in it from the beginning. Lurch Heinz Kerry continues to keep it up over there. And what do you think their end result is? You think they want peace in the Middle East? I think you can say far from it. Anybody in this regime wants peace in the Middle East. They are trying everything they can do, just like here in the United States, to stir up aggression between people and animosity and enmity between people. And it's happening day by day by day.
And in the meantime, the White House and the regime, Comrade Caliph, is over there working diligently with the likes of Castro's down in Cuba, the Khomeini in Iran. And in the meantime, Iran is getting more and more powerful. And you think there's no correlation with Cuba, but honestly, folks, there is.
There is very much.
The strings all tie together. The puzzle pieces fit together very well. And they may be on opposite sides of the board, but I promise you they do. However, I was surprised to hear Venezuela's president accuse Joe Biden of trying to come down there and overthrow his government. Joe Biden couldn't overthrow a paper bag.
Joe Biden, I don't think he can tie his shoes, and I think he's got a doctorate, too. That just shows how easy it is to get a master's and a doctorate nowadays, doesn't it, folks? If Joe Biden can have those, then it sure gives a lot of credibility to those type of degrees, huh? Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Lord, have mercy. But yes, I was rather so shocked to see that. It just blew me away. But yes, they are intermingled, and the destabilization of the Mideast, folks, is all to eradicate Israel and empower Iran.
That sure is,
and that's what it all boils down to.
Right. But we got a few minutes before our guest is coming on at the bottom of the hour, right, V?
Yes, we do have a guest coming on at the bottom of the hour.
Right, and folks, if you weren't with us at the beginning of the show or with us last night, he is going to be, he is the founder of Overpasses for America. And if you're not aware of that organization, it's pretty popular on Facebook, and a lot of people in the 57 states participate in that, and he'll be able to tell us all about it. So we're looking forward to hearing from him, because that's kind of a big movement, especially when the weather's warm and people can get out there. Just love seeing what people do, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we have him. But first of all, just a real quick story here before the bottom of the hour. Boy, and this guy, I can smell IRS audit in 3, 2, 1. The president of the Gallup Corporation says that 5.6 unemployment is a big lie. So you know what? The IRS is going after him. I guarantee you that. Here's what he says. There is no other way to say this. The official unemployment rate, which cruelly overlooks the suffering of the long-term and often permanently unemployed, as well as the depressingly underemployed, amounts to a big lie, capital B, capital L, big lie. Wow.
Well, folks don't like to hear the truth, but that's just the fact of the matter. If you actually do the numbers, we're closer at somewhere between 18 and 20% is what I hear. I know in black communities, it is somewhere between 16 and 30%, depending on what state you're in. That is absolutely incredible, and how the black community can sit back and not be absolutely enraged and still say, oh yeah, he's a good president. Well, what has he done for you? Well, the only thing they can ever come up with, well, he killed Osama bin Laden. Well, that was during the first 2.5 years. What's he done since then?
Well, we don't even know if he did that, but
he did.
You're right.
That man could not hold a gun. I mean, my little 5-year-old grandson does better at holding a weapon than he ever will.
Oh, certainly.
Oh my God! I've seen little girls 6 years old hold a weapon more stable and steady than he does.
And ride a bike in a more stately manner as well, I might just say. A girl bike at that. But no, the U6 unemployment rate, which most people go by, and there's multiple different unemployment rates, folks. It's very confusing. Of course, it's the government, so just remember that it's lies, damned lies, and statistics kind of all go together. But the U6 is approximately 12%, and at that rate, it's affecting 1 in 8 in this country. I think, and like V said, most people think it's higher than that, especially depending on, if you're looking like at the black population, looking at different populations, then it's much higher than that. But to say it's 5.6, well, Jim Clifton, the chairman and CEO at Gallup, who's looking at a IRS audit here shortly, he says that's a big lie.
Well, absolutely it is.
But where was he 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago? How come all these people are coming out now when he's a lame duck and he's in his last 2 years, 23 months to be exact? We'll have to start doing a timer countdown too, V. But, he's got 23 months left, and now people are starting to come out and say this sort of thing. Where the heck were you, like I said, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 years ago? Where were they? Before the election, where were they?
Well, I think when it comes down to the power base, I think you wear out your ability to threaten and blackmail and bully and pull Chicago tactics.
Did you just say a racist term? Blackmail?
I probably did.
You know better than that. It's half blackmail.
It's half blackmail.
You're going to have to get 3 lashes with a wet noodle.
I mean, I tell you.
Mend your racist ways. I'm going to have to call Reverend Al on you.
Yeah, you call Reverend Al for me.
There's a real quick one, too, before we go into the break.
Give him my address while you're at it.
Oh, I'm sure you would welcome a visit. But did you hear that every business he's ever had has failed because of having problems with tax laws? And I think not only does he owe the federal government, I believe the number's around $4.5 million. Folks, he owes like $600,000 to the state of California alone. But they said every business that Al has ever had, and they said the problem is, and imagine this, that these businesses are so closely intertwined with his for-profit thing and his nonprofit stuff. Of course, it's all money laundering, just like what the Democrats do on a daily basis with all of their organizations. But any business he's ever had, for-profit business, has failed because of issues with the tax laws and stuff like that. Not at all surprising to some of us.
He has had 2 businesses in the state of New York that the state of New York shut down because he owed over $500,000 on each one of them in back taxes.
Oh, it's just absolutely something.
So if you start tallying up the Reverend Al's total debt in taxes, it's starting to, it's really touching at $10 million.
Well, it's a good thing he's got pigmentation immunity. He'll never have to pay back a dime of it. So, but I guess that's racist because Wesley Snipes actually went to prison for it, didn't he?
Yeah, but he wasn't racist enough.
I don't know what that's all about. I mean, you folks can put your minds together and think on that. What that may mean.
Lord, it is unbelievable. I mean, the amount of hypocrisy. Who else do you know that owes right at $10 million in taxes that has free comings and goings from the White House ever?
I can't imagine. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't imagine sleeping knowing I owe that much money. I mean, he must have no conscience, no soul. I don't know. I couldn't imagine sleeping. Oh, enough fraction of that.
Poor Willie Nelson sold everything he owned for less than that. What did it was? His was only $2 million.
Oh, and Willie's white, isn't it? I see how it is now.
You see that, don't you?
See how it is. All right. I got their number. All right. Anyway.
Well, guys, we've got to take a break. We're here at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we have a wonderful guest here with us tonight. That'll be Mr. James Neighbors, founder of the Overpassers. We look forward to delving into that conversation, and I hope you will too. You guys stick with us. We'll be back in a few moments.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Dad, Katy Perry is coming to town. Can we get tickets, please?
Tickets? Sure, how many?
Well, there's Hannah and Maddie and Jen and Sarah and Sarah
Whoa,
B.
hold on. Here it comes. We can't forget about your older sister.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Seriously? What? I get 2 times the thank you points on each ticket. Can I come? Yeah.
The City Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on entertainment and dining out with no annual fee. To apply, go to city.com/thankyoucards.
The design of the Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. Oh, and your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want?
No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning. Black Hat, rated R.
Come on, Harry!
Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13. Now playing.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back, everybody. It's WTF, and I am V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. And as promised, we've got our guest for the evening, folks. And I'm going to without any further ado, I'm going to let V introduce him, and we'll start chatting with him. He's got a lot to say. He's really started a cool thing across the United States, and we're glad to have him on the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot radio show, and we're glad you're with us as well. V?
Well, guys, I'd like to introduce a gentleman who I admire and respect a great deal. While so many talk about doing something, he actually initiated it and has moved forward. Not only does he have my admiration and respect, he is my friend, and I would like to welcome Mr. James Neighbors, the founder of the Overpasses. James, how are you?
Good evening. I'm doing great. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing wonderful. Hey, I'm top side of the grass.
There you go.
You can't beat that. You can't beat that.
Well, James, now, see, I know the story, but we've got tens of thousands of people listening tonight that don't know the story. Now, you and I kind of been friends since before the Overpassers were a big thing, and before you carried it national. Why don't you explain to our listeners where you got the motivation to do the Overpassers and how this proceeded into this nationwide, so welcomed event that occurs on overpasses and on highways everywhere, every weekend?
Well, the idea had been kind of stewing around in my head that, I needed to do something. I know I was like in a place that a lot of Americans are still at. Maybe they're just getting to, or they've been there for a very long time. And it's just, I felt like that I was just a number, in this giant population. Let's face it, there's 318 million people in America, and that can make one person feel pretty powerless. And I knew that wasn't what America was supposed to be like. America was built around the individual and the empowerment they can bring, the nation. And I was just browsing through some online news and came across this story out in Carlsbad about this little overpass protest they had, but they were attributed to backing traffic up for 10 miles. And I went looking for other things like that and didn't find anything. And it just stewed in my head, and it just stayed there and stuck in my head. And then, really, the inspiration came across that, what they did there was something that you could do nationwide. And we see success stories like that every day in when you see a McDonald's. They took a singular idea, made it replicatable, and spread it everywhere. And that's really the secret to Overpasses for America. And that is anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. You don't have to go to Washington D.C. They're going to ignore you there anyway. But the people in your town aren't going to ignore you because you're something out of the ordinary. You're somebody that they might know that's standing up, speaking out, and getting involved in what goes on in this country. And it brings back the voice to the individual again, because one person strategically placed, on an overpass or a very busy street corner can communicate literally to thousands, if not really in the right places, perhaps millions of people with a minimal amount of expenditure. I mean, some signs and some flags. You'd be amazed what response you get. And it enables everybody that has a desire to have a voice. And once that idea came across, I couldn't keep it to myself. And so that's where Overpasses started. And, the nickname that somebody that's gone out there, on a regular basis, we kind of gave ourselves was Overpassers, because not everybody does it,
Right.
And, but, it's a way to speak out. And anybody that thinks that it doesn't make a difference, well, I beg to differ. Look at the midterm elections. Everybody didn't get all upset about everything enough to try to change things because they weren't informed. When you've got, over the last 2 years or less than 2 years, 6,000 plus protests all across the country, well, people are going to start paying a little bit of closer attention, at least to the issues that somebody in those 6,000 protests brought to them. And so if we do feel like we affected those elections, and, to that end, the House just voted to repeal Obamacare. So if you don't think...
Yeah.
So if anybody that thinks we aren't making a difference, oh, trust me, if you ever wanted to be a thorn in the side of the machine and do it in a legal, lawful, constitutional manner, get your sign on, and join us, because you'll have a voice and you'll be amazed at the reaction you have, and to that end, we've got a great big nationwide protest coming up on March 27th through the 30th. On the 27th through the 30th, we want everybody to go to their state capitals. And whatever beef you have with the federal government or the state government, if you have a beef with how this country's being run, show up. Mondays and Friday and Monday on the 27th and 30th, go to your state capital. On Saturday and Sunday, find yourself a street corner or an overpass near you. And go out and raise a ruckus. Make yourself be seen and take pictures and get it out there on social media.
James, you're sitting here talking about going to the state capitol, and I think that is a fabulous idea. One of the things I want to encourage you guys to do with your signs when you go to the state capitol is demand the countermand amendment, where the individual states, we have 15 states in the United States on board, drafted bills ready to go. We need 20 more of them, and they will collectively carry it to the federal government and say, you know what, you no longer run this show. We're reclaiming all of our rights.
Good point. And James, I wanted to welcome you to the show, but I think you said it best when you said this is something people can do. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It takes some of their time. But all of my friends on Facebook, and I have a very small group of friends. I don't, not into the thousands. I don't need that. But I'm going to tell you what, the people I've got on Facebook that I've been friends with, and it's been for years and years now, are some of the best that there are out there, some of the most dedicated, some of the most passionate. And what your thing does, this Overpasses for America does, is further gives them a sense of empowerment, something they can do, and something, like you said, that can make a humongous impact when you're standing on an overpass and, the amount of traffic that's going under and people are seeing it. And they may not agree with it, but you know what? It might get them to think. It's something that they can see. But like I said, it's also making the people that are doing it feel good. It just takes time. It doesn't take a lot of money. And I think it's an amazing thing. I just absolutely love seeing the pictures, like you said, on social media when people go out there and do it. And you know what? I see just good, common, average, everyday American people that are having fun, that are concerned about the direction of their country, that are sick of the fundamental transformation. And I think it's just a great, great thing. Just love it.
Well, I'm going to step in here real quick. Not only do I love that, but I love the dedication and hard work that you've got over each individual state, the head of each individual state. Mm-hmm. I'm good friends with Karen out of Georgia, who leads Georgia, and Carol, who leads New York, and they are just phenomenal women. Just following your lead and pushing forward, this foundation that you have laid out and this direction that you give. And wow, what an army you have amassed.
Well, thank you. And it's sometimes I look at it and I just can't believe that I had anything to do with it, because it's because it has given so many Americans a voice that they never otherwise would have had. The people that have met, and that have stood up once they were given the opportunity, Overpasses for America straight up would not be where it is right now and where it's going to be in the future if it weren't for the Lady Patriots within the movement. They're quite frankly the backbone of it. And, I suppose my testosterone speaks a little bit when I say that it bothers me when I don't see more men stand up like they should, because we're supposed to be the assertive ones. We go to war, don't we? We can't stand up and hold a sign. It bothers me sometimes. But thank goodness for the lady patriots of Overpasses, because we would not have reached the millions and millions of people that we have without them. Carol, poor Carol, she was running the group by accident when I found out we'd had our state leader go AWOL, and I was so busy that I didn't notice for a bit. And when I found out that she was doing her best without having any admin ability or really knowing what she was doing, but she was figuring it out all on her own. And she's since taken that state, once we realized what was going on and gave her a little bit of training, she took every little tidbits we gave her and turned them into a feast up there in New York. And she's done an outstanding job. And just really all over the place. Valerie in Texas, and Carol in Florida, and Michelle out in California, and Maureen in Hawaii. I could go on, and I apologize if I left anybody out, because that I appreciate what you've done. And it's just an amazing thing. You'll make friends. That's the best thing about Overpasses. If nothing else ever came of it, honestly, if nothing else ever came of it, you will make friends in Overpasses that you will have for the rest of your life, that will always be there because of the type of people that you want to be around.
Absolutely.
Good point.
James, I've got a question for you. I mean, we've seen videos here and there. We know that sometimes law enforcement is not that receptive to the overpassers being on the overpasses. They kind of get us every now and again. How do you tell your folks to deal with that?
Well, the best way to deal with it is to go with information and educate yourself prior to. There are some federal laws that support the Constitution that in every case so far has basically trumped what the argument that the local police have. And that is 42 U.S. Code Title 1983, or Section 1983. And you can sue an individual officer in civil court for violating your civil rights. You could take his house, his car, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's also criminal codes for that. That's 18 U.S. Code Section 241 and 242, and they carry very, potentially very stiff penalties for specifically peace officers or an agent of a law enforcement agency on infringing on your rights. And I advise everybody to print those out and take them with you, and also to go, believe it or not, to the ACLU's website, look up the rights of protesters. Print all of that out, put it in a little notebook if you like, take it with you when the police show up. Be very polite and just informative. It's just informative. If it comes down to getting arrested, that's an individual call. It's happened. So far, in every case, we have won.
Right.
We have had some people get arrested, and in the end, they were exonerated and cleared. 2 lawsuits are currently going that have reached the federal level, one in Dallas, Texas, over based on anti-overpasses protester law, and then we've got another one going on up in Campbell, Wisconsin, and they're both in federal court, and things are looking very, very good. The city of Dallas already rescinded their ordinance, and right now the lawsuit that's continuing is just, I believe it's just the technicalities and the damages amount. So we've already won there. I don't know all the details on that, but that's where I believe that's where it's going. We've already won that one, and they rescinded that. So, and honestly, as ironic as it may sound, I'd have to, in an odd way, thank the Ferguson protesters. Because after their completely barbaric, uncivilized behavior, putting people at risk all over the country by actually walking onto freeways. Oh, thank you, Ferguson protesters, because you have now shown Americans what it's like to be a civil protester, and you just made overpasses look that much better. So kudos to you, Ferguson Dingleberries. You've helped us out a lot.
Ferguson Dingleberries. We're gonna
love that.
Yeah, I like that. We're gonna use that again.
Hey, James, we've got my golden child from Princeton on our chat thread, and he says he's been working with the Overpassers movement since the beginning. And that means if he's been working with them, I promise you've got a pretty good group of youth. College youth from Princeton University supporting Overpassers, so I am thrilled to hear that.
No kidding. Yeah, so am I. I'm amazed that he's been able to resist the leftist slant of that university, and congratulations to him for that.
Oh, you have no idea, James. When we first started this show, that he is the one that garnered the group from Princeton, and now we have colleges across the nation that are doing it. That took his lead and followed his example and listened to our show, and we appreciate all of our youth. But it really did start with my golden child Bradley at Princeton, and when we first started doing this show, he had garnered probably 300 plus students together in a common area, and they would broadcast the show, and they would sit around and discuss it and talk politics, etc. Princeton University came through one night and says, nope, you can't do it anymore, and if you're going to do it, we're going to force you to pay this exorbitant room rental fee and a cleanup fee. And, that's how we're going to handle that to shut you down. However, these devoted youths went on about their way and stood their ground, got their parents involved, threatened to withdraw the funding and their students, and Princeton University backed down. And I was so thrilled that they stood up for themselves. And in addition to that, in this past voting season, my golden child, Bradley from Princeton, and some of his buddies, all they did was ferry people back and forth to the voting booths for us. And
outstanding.
They are just phenomenal conservatives, and we just love them to death and are so honored that, that our youth are willing to listen to us. But that's the kind of folks we've got listening to us, and so that's the impression that you're getting an opportunity to make.
Well, that's some great news, and that's something that we've been trying to make some inroads on, or some of the university organizations out there, because the fact is they're going to inherit this country, and we can either work to give them something worth having, or they're going to pay for our generation and the last generation's excesses. So it's good to see that. We've got some people with their heads screwed on straight that are going to university, because it's a well-known fact how leftist that they've gotten, and it's comforting. It's comforting to see that there's somebody that is going to be active and know what's going on, in the next generation. It's always good, and we've really got to get people out and active, and it's refreshing to see somebody else out there, making a stand against. Well, that's a violation of your free speech, is what happened to them when they stood up for themselves. And if more people would do this and not be afraid of whatever the potential consequences may be, and they stand strong, I think we could take this country back a lot quicker than what many may imagine. But it's going to take people standing up.
I agree with you 100%.
Very good point.
James, we have a caller. Hold on for just a moment. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, V. This is Carol from Overpasses for America, New York. How are you?
Doing wonderful, my darling. How are you?
My ears were burning, for heaven's sakes.
Well,
Hi, James.
Hello.
So, yes, I think we had a profound effect on the midterm elections. we were doing the governorship up here. Of course, we did lose that, but because of only a couple counties in New York City, because we are slaves to the city. But other than that, we won all of our local elections. And yes, I'm going to take some credit for some of that.
Good. And you should, Carol. You're right. Carol, how can people contact you in the state of New York to get a hold of you? Through Facebook? What's the best way for them to get a hold of you as the weather's starting to get warmer and you guys are going to be out there?
Well, I'm going to the Overpasses for America. Is it .com, James? Overpassesforamerica.com.
I hate to do this. But I'm going to have to interrupt y'all for just a moment. We have 3 calls on the line. Someone has their sound up, and it is feeding back through the system. Can you please turn your sound off? Thank you.
Mine is off.
Yeah, whoever's doing that. We got 3 people on right now. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I won't take a lot of your time. V, I love your show. I think you make a great difference. James, good to hear your voice again.
Indeed. It's been busy the last couple of months as I prepare to get married and moved out here. So it's been busy.
Oh, my gosh. Overpasses in New York is going to start on March 27th also. Rise Up America Rally.
Okay, so the Live Out of America rally in New York. Make sure you check out the information. You can find that at overpassers.org or on Facebook at .com, excuse me. Or you can go on Facebook and type in Overpassers and go for New York. Or you can go to the national forum.
All the states are there, yep, exactly
Absolutely.
Right. So let's rock it. We got to rock it again this year, and I plan on doing that.
Well, Carol, we support you.
Definitely, 100%.
Just love you to death, and I just think the world of you. And I mean, I have made some amazing friends over the years who are doing phenomenal work.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
And sometimes you just sit back and you forget the people that you know that are working as diligent as you are in different areas. And then, every now and again it pops in your head. It's like, oh, wow, I forgot, I've let, you get caught up in life,
But we got to get the keyboard warriors active.
Amen.
Active.
That's what we say all the time. Stop tweeting, stop typing on Facebook, and get out there and do something.
Exactly right. Join us.
Protesting only takes standing around. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's not physical labor. Exactly. It's not physical labor.
Actually, bring you a lawn chair and sit. That works too.
I always bring 2. I never sit, but I always bring 2. You can't get me to sit down. It's not happening. But I always bring 2 chairs with me, and I can always bring more, and there's always plenty of signs.
Well,
I have to tell them to secure the border signs too still, James. We're doing good.
All right, we've got like a minute and a half before break. We've got another caller on the line.
I'm out.
All right.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and thank you for the praises.
You're welcome.
You keep doing a good job.
Of course.
Okay. Good night, and I'll be listening.
Okay, thank you.
Carol.
Appreciate that.
And guys, that was Carol from New York Overpassers, and she is just phenomenal. But we have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your name? We've got about a minute and a half.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Hi, this is Patricia Day, and I started Overpasses last year after I saw Dinesh D'Souza's movie America. The next weekend I was out on an overpass, and that's where I met Carol also, and she is a phenomenal person. I'm down here in Pennsylvania working it down here.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay, so now we got New York and Pennsylvania. All right, good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That is phenomenal.
When I first started, I helped her out in New York a little bit, and then I started winging it down here in Pennsylvania. And I'm taking over the central part of Pennsylvania now.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
That's so cool. And you know what? I can hear the happiness, the joy in your voice. I can just tell that it's something you enjoy doing and you have a passion for. And that says it more than anything, I think.
I think I have a passion because I'm tired of sitting at home in my butt and watching America go down the tubes. So I want to try to make everybody know what's going on.
Amen. Well said. And what a bang for your buck you get, by going out there and doing something like this.
That's true.
Absolutely. Patricia, we appreciate we're coming up at the top of the hour. We're fixing to have to take a break. James, we're going to ask you to stick with us for a little bit. Okay. You're up for that?
You bet. And thank you, Patricia.
Yes,
Thank
Patricia,
you,
thank you so much. Keep doing a great job out there.
Thanks.
Guys, we've
Bye.
got to take a break. We'll be back in just a few moments.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Dad, Katy Perry is coming to town. Can we get tickets, please?
Tickets? Sure, how many?
Well, there's Hannah and Maddie and Jen and Sarah and Sarah.
Whoa, hold on. Here it comes. We can't forget about your older sister.
Thank you.
Seriously? What? I get 2 times the thank you points on each ticket. Oh, can I come? Yeah.
The City Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on entertainment and dining out with no annual fee. To apply, go to city.com/thankyoucards.
The design of the Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. Oh, and your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want?
No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown. This is only the beginning.
Black Hat, rated R.
Come on, Harry!
Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13. Now playing.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back, everybody. This is WTF, and I am V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. And folks, if you're new to the show, thanks for joining us. We are live with you every Monday through Thursday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We are unrehearsed, unscripted, and unpolitically correct. PG-13, but never PC. And you are listening to the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot radio show. And folks, welcome back to the second hour. We are back with our guest from the first hour, Mr. James Neighbors, who is with the Overpasses for America. And if you were with us right before the break, we had a lady call in from the great state of New York. We had one from Pennsylvania. And these people are excited, and they are doing some great stuff. So welcome back to the show, James. We appreciate you being here again.
You bet. Good to be back.
Give us some. Where are you guys going to go from here? How much more can this grow? I mean, obviously, you would take as many people as you can, because then you get more coverage. Different highways, different areas, that sort of thing. But do you have any plans or anything like that you can share with us, or is it just kind of an organically grown thing, and it's just more people are getting interested, finding out about it, and getting involved? Or do you have any specific plans, anything like that?
Well, it really it's kind of a combination of both things. It really is kind of an organic thing, and I really I've had people accuse me of being a control freak before, but honestly, I don't have the time to micromanage 50 different states, and I try to let people manage things themselves. But as far as what we have planned coming up, we've got March 27th through the 30th. Very, very important weekend. The reason being is it's the first weekend after the beginning of spring. Now, the reason we did this is so that the Patriots up in the northern half of the United States they've got a good chance of decent weather, at least not freezing or sub-zero. It's, you know, you have to take that into account. We wanted to do something sooner, but to give everybody the opportunity, the best opportunity, we took the first weekend after the start of spring. And it's really critical, really critical that we get everybody together. You know, even if it's just your friends and family and you don't have anything to do with Overpasses, gather everybody you can up and take some signs that express the things that you want fixed in America. You know, do you want the borders secured? Do you want something done about the illegal alien issue we have? Do you want the IRS to be audited or shut down, or the Fed to be audited or shut down? I mean, whatever it is, gun rights, you know, any issue you have, especially if it's a constitutional issue,
right.
Bring it out.
Absolutely.
Okay. And, you know, we'll have more going on as the year goes on, but right now we're just focused like a laser beam on this 27th through the 30th. That way we don't neglect it.
All right, so that's the big kickoff for the year for Overpasses for America, folks. So you need to get on Facebook and look at Overpasses for America and find out what's available in your state where you're at, your locale. Get involved, folks. Like we said, it doesn't cost anything. It just takes your time. Bring an American flag, if nothing else. You know, you can't afford to make a sign, or you don't want to make a sign. Bring an American flag. Bring a "Don't Tread on Me," the Gadsden
Bring
flag.
a sign
do something
that says
like that.
"Honk if you hate Obama as much as I do."
That's it. Just show up, because I can guarantee you somebody's going to bring extra signs and flags.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, I do some open carry stuff here in the state where I live, and the open carry is the handgun, which is perfectly legal. But I notice whenever we're in groups and stuff like that, whether we're just standing around and, you know, talking to people who are wondering what's going on, that sort of thing, it's just being together. That sense of being together, knowing that there's other people out there. And that's what we're trying to promote on this show as well, is that you're not alone out there. There's lots more like you that have the same feelings and that love this country and that feel like they're underrepresented, if represented at all. So that's what this Overpasses for America is all about, folks.
Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. You'll make lifelong friends if you just give it a shot. You're going to change the people around you. They'll never be able to forget those protesters they saw on that overpass. Every single person that sees you change their lives. If you don't think Overpasses can change somebody's life, you're talking to a guy that started it with absolutely no intention of breaking an 18-year-old divorce. I wasn't looking to meet anybody, but here I am on the cusp of getting married. I've moved halfway across the country, really all because of Overpasses. You know, if I hadn't started it, it would have never happened. I'd have never met the love of my life, and I certainly wouldn't be in California. I had no intentions of coming out here, and you know,
talk about culture shock.
It's crazy what love will drive you to do, but I'd have never found it if not for starting Overpasses and the people that I've met. You never know what it'll do for you.
I remember when this was just an idea to you, and I, you know, you and I were part of a group that was doing other things at the time, and we talked about it, and you just knew it could grow, and look what it has turned into in just a few short years, James. I mean, I'll be honest, it seems like I've known you forever now, but it's only been a few years.
You know, I know, and it does. It feels like it's been, you know, half a lifetime. But I guess it's just because of all the people we've seen and talked to, the strangers that have come up and thanked us for what we're doing, and the boo birds that have given us the finger and cussed us out and maybe even threatened us. You know, it's all of these experiences, which, by the way, that's very rare. So don't. It has happened, but most often it's just been entertaining. They'll threaten you, and it's just laughable. But you know, it's a life-changing thing to get out there and express your voice, and especially when you start making friends with those people. You know, when you get older, when you go to your grave, you can say, "I stood up." Whether we succeed or not remains to be seen. But the more of us that decide to look, to stand up, the more likely we are to succeed.
You are absolutely correct.
And it was estimated that 3% of the population, were the ones that decided that they had had enough of England and got this movement going, to form this great country, because they weren't being represented, because taxation was a heck of a burden. They weren't getting the representation they needed. So, as little as 3% can make a difference, folks. So it's time to get out there, join with other like-minded individuals, and go have some fun. Every picture I've seen of everybody out there, they're enjoying themselves. And I've seen some where they're in rainstorms, and towards the beginning of the last winter, I remember a couple of them. They're out there and it looks like sleet and everything. But they, you know what? They were still making a difference. They were still doing something. They were making themselves be heard. And that's what this country is all about.
Absolutely.
Well,
they get out there with their flags and everything, and some of them might get harassed, a little bit here and there. But for the most part, the more people you have, it becomes a party on the freeway. It really does.
Yep.
Well, and there is another really a very important reason that people should try it and get out there and get outspoken. A lot of people have said that protesting does no good. They don't listen. But the founding fathers themselves were very, very strong believers in protesters. And to those that call themselves 3%ers but won't protest because they think it does no good, I'd like to pose a question to you, and that is, where do you suppose the founding fathers found the people that would eventually stand in the Continental Army and create this nation? They found those people from the groups of protesters, those people that weren't afraid to stand up in the face of tyranny. And when they found those people, they created the first, they created America. They created a nation that was a beacon of light into the world. And so if you think it doesn't make a difference, if you think that nobody listens, you need to look at the people that are there. They're the ones that are listening, and you never know which person you're looking at that's going to be the next Thomas Jefferson or the next George Washington, and it might lead this nation back to its birthright. And so don't diss the protesters, because that's where the founding fathers found the core of their army.
Amen to that.
Perfectly well stated, sir.
James,
yes,
I cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight. You have been a fabulous guest, and we have been absolutely thrilled to have you. I am certain Jose and I started this show tonight saying we could easily do 3-4 hours and breeze right through and still be crushed for time tonight, and I'm going to tell you, I think I could easily do 2 hours with you. So
right.
But I thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure. I love talking, to people, especially on shows I haven't been on before, because this is real. It's very real, and it's something that every person can be a part of. And it's almost, I feel like I'm a missionary for liberty, and I'd like to invite everybody else to enjoy that feeling.
Great way to say it, James. Very good way to put it. Thanks for being with us on the show.
You bet. Thank you.
And if there's anything big happening, be sure to keep in touch with us, or having your people throughout the 57 states, somebody get a hold of us. We'd love to hear about it. And, of course, we'll keep looking for everything that's happening throughout the warmer weather on Facebook, Twitter, and social media.
All right.
All right. Guys, that was James Neighbors. He is the founder of the Overpassers for America, and you can go on Facebook and find Overpassers for America. You can also find each individual state listed there. If you're not part of Overpassers, it would be an opportunity to go ahead and join up with Overpassers. They are a fabulous group of people, so diligent in the work that they're doing, and so many people getting involved. And like James pointed out, you can make lifelong friends. I know I have made lifelong friends through the Overpassers, and I'm sure that you have too, and maybe you didn't even know that they were an Overpasser. So check it out, Senor.
definitely. I can't say any more about it. I think it's a great thing. It's something that everybody can do. It doesn't take any money. You have no excuses, folks. Find your group. Find somebody. Get a couple like-minded people. Go out and do it. Simple as that. Warm weather's coming. No matter what that groundhog says. 6 weeks, whatever. Get out there. Get a warm coat on. Here, a few more weeks. Like he was saying, what is it? March 27 through 30. Mark that on your calendars. That's the kickoff weekend for Overpasses for America for this 2015. Get out there and make it happen.
Absolutely. And, as we've continuously pointed out on this show, we bring so many of these various groups together. I mean, you've got New York Revolution. We've had 2A groups. We've had anti-Obamacare. We've had anti-Muslim. We've had basically just about everything, and Overpassers is just part of that. And as we've said before, these are all cogs in the wheel focused on the same goal, and that is saving the country. And the reason that we bring them forth is maybe you haven't heard about them. Maybe you don't understand what they're about. Maybe you don't know how easy it is to get involved. And Overpassers is probably the easiest there is.
I believe so. I
mean, because you don't have to travel anywhere. You don't. You have to go to the closest overpass.
Yeah. And think about how many people driving down a highway on any given day, any highway that you can think of. Think about how many people will see the message that you're putting out there and make them think. And maybe they're like-minded, maybe they're not. But you're making them think about something. And that's not a bad thing. It's got a heck of an impact. It definitely does. We're glad to have him on.
Numbers, people. Let's I want to bring something to light while I'm thinking about it. When I say it's all about numbers, most people are not the popular people. They want to be with the popular people. So the more numbers that we have, the more people want to be a part. So I don't care if you're doing New York Revolution. I don't care if you're doing a 2A group. I don't care if you're doing an anti-Muslim group. I don't care if you're doing an anti-invader group. Whatever your niche is, do your best to get the numbers visible. And when you get the numbers visible, it makes other people feel comfortable and confident and want to be a part. When the numbers get massive, that's when you've got the reach to pull in people that you never thought would be a part because they want to be included. We need people included.
Definitely.
This is high school, people. I mean, it really is. We're talking about real lives, but it's high school.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Except we don't get thrown in a trash can, right, for hazing? I grew up in Texas.
Well, I don't know. They did in Ferguson, but that's another story.
I grew up in Texas, folks. There was some interesting hazing techniques in the smaller towns where I grew up. Yeah. Anyway.
But I mean, if we all really, when you sit there and think about it, it's like, a lot of people want to be included in something. They don't want to be included in a group that's only got 4 or 5 people in it. They want to be included in the group that's got 50 or 60 people in it. So we need 50 or 60 people out on all these overpasses.
Well, and that's when it's all fun. It's not like work. It's go out and have a little fun. If the weather's nice, like I said, bring your lawn chairs and go enjoy yourself. And you're doing something good at the same time. So
that's it. Bring your tan and lotion, put on your shorts, and go hang out on the overpass with your friends. Bring some hot dogs, some ham sandwiches. Let's have a good time on the overpass.
There you go.
I'm dead serious. Why does that sound crazy? But, the same thing for the group that's working so diligent. George Corbella and his group working so diligent to do the same thing in New York. And just, instead of going to work on the 15th of April, show up at his event and say no more. Guys, the more of us that show up, they only... In Germany, the soldiers used to ask Hitler and the upper echelons of the Nazi order why they did not mark the Jews in public so that everyone would know who they are.
Right.
And he made it very clear the reason we don't know it, because then they would see there are more of them than there are of us. Guys, there are more of us than there are of them. We've just got to make our physical presence known. Regardless of what group we're in, whatever we're involved in. You guys know March 6th. I'm going to be in Dearborn, Michigan. I want you guys to come out there. But if you don't, that's okay. I will stand alone. I've done it before.
Yes, she will. Don't doubt her. Well, you'll have Christine White too, right?
Yes, I will. And
of course, folks, if that name is not known to you, then you need to once again get out from under that rock you're hiding under. She just stirred him up down in Austin, Texas.
Yes, she
did. Here within the last couple of days, she just went and stirred him up. She's very prolific all over the place, and she's not mean or hateful. She's just speaking the word of God and getting that out there so people hear it. And she's doing some amazing things.
She is extreme. And see, that's, I think, when, some people watch the video and they see the way she is, they think, she's a mean-spirited person or anything like that. No, everything about her is God's gospel. I'm going to tell you that absolutely everything about her is God's gospel, and she is just so passionate about spreading his word and not allowing something else to come in and put that in jeopardy. She is a God warrior, and that's what I tell everybody. She is a God warrior.
It's a good way to put it, and that's exactly what she is. We've had her on the show multiple times, folks, and you can catch her in the archives. It's well worth your time to go through the archives and find, especially the first visit after she had just come from the National Cathedral, where she had stood up the lone person speaking the name of God, of Jesus Christ, in the National Cathedral, where they had allowed the Muslims to come in and take it over for their prayers. And she stood up unafraid. I can't imagine it. She stood up
I'm not going to say she was unafraid. She was terrified.
Okay, right. Okay, she was terrified, but I mean, still, she did it. In the face of overwhelming odds, she stood up and let her voice be heard.
You know what that is? You know what that's called?
One single person.
You know what that's called? That isn't called fearless. That's called courage.
Courage. Also, someone that really believes in something, and God bless her. But she's in the archives. She's been on the show a couple times, and there's another good person out there. That's just one person making an impact like that.
But, you're absolutely right. And she will be with me on March 6th in Dearborn, Michigan. We'll be out there that afternoon, and I understand that, there will be some other people that have decided, since we made that announcement here on this show that that's what we were going to do, that they'll be joining us. And we're really looking forward to it. We hope a lot of people join us. But if they don't, you know what? It's okay, because I'm not the popular kid. I'm not doing the popular thing. I'm doing what I think is right. And to me, that's the best thing. And if you guys want to join in, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. Go join in something.
Find your niche.
Something.
There's so much that needs to be done out there.
I mean, I'm big on the 2A. I mean, I'm pretty much big on everything. Although I am not physically able to physically do everything. So I have to pick and choose my battles. Mine is big time anti-Muslim. Sharon Darrington's is anti-invader. Jose's is 2A. I mean, but we all are kind of, doing our thing, but we're trying to intertwine them to make you guys understand how they all work together. And yes, there are a lot of people in a lot of groups that have egos, don't want to listen to anybody or anything else. That's fine. Go do your thing. I am happy for you. Go do it.
And you know what? Here's just a little story, and I've got to be kind of vague how I say it. Doing an open carry rally, and with some great people that I had known on Facebook and then met them in the real world, and they were just as great and as cool and as awesome and amazing as they were online. Just real American people, male and female. So we go to do this open carry rally, and next thing you know, we're about to get arrested going into a building for the Attorney General of the state we were in. next thing you know, they realized what the mistake was. They were very cool with us, very supportive, but despite not having any signs that we could not enter wearing open carrying an firearm, they understood. Next thing you know, after lunchtime, folks, we met the Attorney General of that state in his personal office. Amazing, just because of that. And we got to meet him, got to pictures taken with him. He was fully supportive of what we did. Of course, he said, they've got certain rules in that building and stuff for good reason and stuff. But I mean, he was so supportive of us. We got to meet the Attorney General of the state. It was just, that morning we had no idea that would ever happen. And there we got to do that and get pictures. And it was kind of cool. I got to admit, it's kind of cool to do that. And there's so many neat people you meet out there and so many neat situations that you'll find yourself in. I suggest you get involved.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Just the way, it doesn't have to be one thing. If we've got a couple million doing 2A, a couple of million doing invaders, a couple of million doing overpassers, a couple of million doing anti-Muslim, a couple of million, look at that. If we can all get together someday, you're talking 10, 20 million people.
And think about the impact.
Think about that impact.
And think about standing up in front of your kids and your grandkids someday and saying, well, I didn't do anything because there was not much I could do. So I posted some stuff on Twitter. I posted some stuff on Facebook. But, there just wasn't anything to get involved with and there was nothing I could really do. Well, you would be flat out right lying to them, folks, because there's plenty that you can do. And not just by yourself. Sure, it's scary to do things by yourself. Lots of groups where you can work together with other like-minded folks. And actually, it's enjoyable while you're doing it. And it's for the betterment of this country. We've got to get away from this fundamental transformation. We got 23 more months left of this guy, and it's going to take everything we've got to go against this lame duck who is definitely not backing down one iota.
Absolutely. But an interesting thing you said there, because I think that it is true for the most part that it's scary to do something by yourself. What is wrong with me?
Well, you're just a little different, a little special. I don't want to say much. I mean that with total respect because I do. I wouldn't do half the stuff she does. I mean, oh my God, no possible way. Just not that confrontational, and then I don't know what else. But yeah, she. I prefer to be in at least a smaller crowd, if anything, but not my partner there, not V. Woo, I'll tell you.
Well, yeah. Somebody has to stand up sometimes.
I guess so. And I think, and you've of course kind of brought it up, and James was with us from the Overpasses for America last hour and the first part of this hour. I am so surprised and encouraged by how many female patriots, how many female Americans out there just are so passionate, and they, tell you what, fearless almost. I mean, and just wanting to do things, and they seem to have so much fun. A lot more in many times than I see the men, and I don't know if that's because the guys are maybe working more or what it is. I don't know if they're sitting home watching sports or something like that, but it seems like I just see a lot more women that are much more passionate and involved in these things. And I'm encouraged by that. I think it's great.
You know what I think it is? In all honesty, I really do think it's that maternal instinct thing. We see our children's futures being jeopardized, and that protective thing comes out in us, and we're like badgers. I call myself a honey badger. You mess with the future of my child or my grandchild, and yes, I'm coming at you with everything I have. If I see you as a threat, you are the enemy. End of story. The regime in the White House is my enemy. Muslims are my enemy. Invaders are my enemy. They threaten the livelihood of my children and grandchildren, and as a mother and having that maternal instinct, I will gladly die for the betterment of their lives. But having said that, I see that there's a new hashtag out grandmothers know best. Guess you'll never forget. I bet you'll never guess who came up with that one.
Oh, I don't know. Why don't you tell us? Because I got a pretty good idea.
Oh, Killary did.
Killary. Cankles. You mean Cankles herself?
Yeah. Yeah, the Benghazi 4 queen.
Oh, so grandmother. Okay, so, and of course the grandfather is Webb Hubbell, right?
Well,
wink,
no, we knew she was going to witch with a capital B that out, that she's got a grandkid. That was a given.
Very smooth, V. Very smooth.
It was. We knew it was coming. Pimp.
Well, there we go. Well, folks, we got to take a break. Bottom of the hour. We're having a great time. Hopefully you are too. Stick with us if you want to call us when we get back. 313-462-0068. As always, we'd love to hear from you. And we will be back. Stay with us. We got another half hour to go.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
How are things with the new guy? All we do is go out to dinner. That's it? I mean, he picks up the tab every time, which is great. Why? He's using you. He probably has a city thank you card and he gets 2 times the points at restaurants. So he's just racking up points with me. Some people. Ugh. No, I got it.
The City Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on dining out and entertainment with no annual fee. To apply, go to city.com/thankyoucards.
The most amazing thing about the Ford Fusion isn't the way it looks. The most amazing thing is the way it sees. With blind spot technology, a lane keeping system, and a standard rear view camera, the Fusion is ready for whatever comes your way. Go prepared. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement. We're facing a nuclear meltdown. This is only the beginning. Black Hat, rated R.
Come on, Harry! Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13. Now playing.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
So don't tell me who's wrong and right when liberty starts slipping away. And if you ain't gonna fight, get out of the way. 'Cause freedom makes so free when you breathe red and white and blue. I'm giving on myself, 'cause that's what I do. And they call me warrior. They call me loyalty. And they call me ready to provide relief and hellfire wherever you need me to be. I'm an American warrior.
after we
Hello, welcome back to WTF. I am V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. Folks, welcome back to the show. We are glad to have you here tonight. And just want to let you know, at 9 p.m. Eastern, as soon as this show is over, immediately following us is State Legislators Roundtable. Tonight, their special guest is Senator David G. Lawson from the great state of Delaware. And that's hosted by Charles Kaprowicz. And ladies and gentlemen, Charles is just an amazing guy. Talk about a patriot. This guy is a patriot and very bright as well, very smart. He's got an idea to change some things, folks. So you need to get involved with this and get on board with this. Roundtable discussions center on how burdensome laws and regulation can be countermanded and rescinded with a nonpartisan countermand amendment. So this is something very good. Definitely a show you want to pay attention to. So he'll follow us immediately at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Folks, we haven't talked about it in a while, just briefly, but there's some new reports out that V and I wanted to talk about. 5.5 million additional work permits have been issued since 2009 in a shadow authorization system. Now, what's happening is the Obama regime is issuing millions of work permits over the limits set by Congress, once again usurping Congress, finding them not necessary. And the federal records show that from 2009 to 2014, 5,461,568 new work permits were issued to immigrants beyond the 1.1 million legal immigrants and 700,000 guest workers admitted each year. Here's how it breaks down. Approximately 1.8 million new work permits were issued to aliens with temporary visas or who had entered under the visa waiver program. Of these, about 1.2 million, or 67%, had a visa status for which employment is not authorized by law. About 982,000 new work permits issued to illegal aliens or aliens unqualified for admission. Of these, 957, so virtually the whole amount, were aliens who crossed the border illegally, entered without inspection. Inexplicably, 1,200 new work permits were issued to aliens who were denied asylum, were suspected of using fraudulent documents, were stowaways, or who were refused at a port of entry, yet 1,200 of them still got work permits. And then finally, about 1.7 million were issued to aliens whose status was unknown, not recorded by the adjudicator, or not disclosed by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the agency that processes the applications. 1.7 million. We're talking, like I said, almost 5.5 million here, folks, authorized over what Congress has given permission for. What the heck is going on here?
That is a what the F indeed, but we knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen.
We knew it, but why?
You don't order 30 million IDs if you're not anticipating to have to hand them out to about 30 million folks.
Well,
I mean,
they've known all along.
They've
quite frankly known all along, because we know, and there's documentation out there that shows that they were soliciting for people to come to the United States from South American countries, telling them exactly what to say, how to get here, and what to say when they get here, so that they can be allowed entry, because they're fleeing some tyranny in their country, and there's many different ways that they can do that. But they were soliciting people to come to the United States. These aren't all Mexicans, folks. In fact, Mexico wants, quite frankly, nothing to do with them. They let them go into their southern border as long as they're going to go clear through the northern border, which is America.
Or if they fly in and they're going to leave immediately, from the Mideast. But, I mean, you and I were talking the other day. Wonder how, you sit here and you look at what they've done. Now, if you guys recall, just a few years ago, we passed E-Verify and had to have hundreds of $millions to put a national database together for E-Verify to ensure that illegals could not work in the United States because it's against the law.
I don't think the law matters much anymore, to be honest with you, folks. I think it's just maybe a guideline or something like that, because it's not being so many cases it's not being followed.
Well, I mean, everybody says, well, why are the Republicans on board with the invaders? Embracing the invaders. And I'm going to tell you, I've given this a lot of consideration. I really think it's wage suppression. I really think it is their way of keeping companies in business. It's like, okay, absorb them. But folks, we don't need to absorb them. That's what they're missing. We don't need to. We have over 90 million people in this country who are currently or underemployed.
Right.
That is enough people. When they have a job fair, the lines go around the block. That's supply and demand. That automatically lowers the wages. You've got too many people and too many people willing to work for less than the next guy. So, I mean, we don't need the invaders to do wage suppression. The fact that we have over 90 million unemployed individuals in the United States of America is all that we require. Now, if you lock down on welfare, the wages will go down even further. I've got news for you, because those folks will need to work. And
Heaven forbid.
And God bless Maine. 6,500 people decided that they were too doggone lazy to do 20 hours of volunteer work a week in order to keep their welfare, so they dumped it. Yay!
Yeah, the numbers though are just, and like you said, we've known all along. We've known all along that this is happening. But why doesn't Congress, why in the heck would they allow him to continue to usurp their power? Why? Why do they want that?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know what I think. I
folks,
can't
we're
say
supposed to have separation of powers and stuff like that. I mean, this is just.
I think that most people that go to Washington D.C. most people that go to Washington D.C. that have been there for more than 2 or 3 terms have so much dirt up underneath their fingernails, it's easy to scrape off when they break a nail. And I think that this administration and this regime has run behind them, picking up these nail clippings every which way you could, using DNA and nailing them to the walls with all that dirt. That's what I think, but that's just my opinion. But
right, what else would explain it, though? I mean, it's as good a theory as anything else. I mean, what else can explain this?
Well, unfortunately, we've got several things that occurred today that we have not discussed that I think we really need to discuss, because tomorrow is WTF Wednesday. What the F Wednesday? And these don't really fit in that category. Number one is the House did pass a bill to repeal Obamacare. The Weeping Carrot is now calling on the Senate to defund Obamacare. We will see where that goes. We know that could take up to a month of negotiations to even see if it goes anywhere. However, last month the House passed a veterans bill. Now, we all think that this is a good idea because it's about suicide, veteran suicide, which occurs about 22 times a day, people, which is absolutely uncalled for, unnecessary. We need to be reaching out to our veterans, no doubt. Anyway, the Senate passed it today, and it's going to the White House. And what that calls for is these people to, be able to get assistance for mental health issues. The only problem that I have with this is the regime has already had the Veterans Administration start making any veteran with a mental health issue, they've started confiscating their weapons. I don't know any military individuals out there, or veterans or otherwise, that will give up their weapons. I know that I'm not a military or a veteran, and I'm not giving up mine. I don't care if I was crazy as a bat running around in the belfry. I am not going to admit to anything. I don't care what's going on. You're not getting my guns.
No, right. You better believe it. I don't know. I don't understand anything anymore. It seems like up is down, left is right. I mean, does it seem like sometimes we've gone into the Twilight Zone or something like that?
Well, the thing that bothers me with it is they were going to present it like, well, it's help for our military. Yeah, and it is. Okay, God knows we need it. But if you're going to do that, include in it, if you seek help, we will not come after your guns.
Right.
If you reach out for somebody, you're off limits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's not what they're going to do. Anybody that's classified as having had a suicide attempt or thinking in a suicidal manner, I mean, in a lot of states, they Baker Act them. They put them, against their will in an institution for observation, a mental institution for observation. So they automatically classified as a mental health issue. We all know what this regime has done with weapons and mental health situations. And they have been desperately attempting to disarm our veterans, and I think this is just another way that they're doing it. Now, the people that are passing the bills maybe have not considered this. I can't imagine those college-educated, brilliant people in Washington, D.C. that are incapable of tying their own shoelaces. That's why they wear slip-on shoes. Not being... Yeah, it's like my grandson. Everything's got Velcro,
Yeah, but your grandson is how old?
He's 5.
See, there's a reason for that.
My grandson at 5 would say, "No, you're not getting Nana's guns."
Right, but isn't this something? Because I mean, these are the people that need help. So if you basically say that, yes, I've had suicidal thoughts, or you admit to anything like that, you're potentially putting yourself in jeopardy for your gun rights and many other things, and getting all these labels and stuff like that. Wow.
It really is very concerning to me, which makes what's your friend's name? Mike Rogers, who does Veterans For, and your friend Andy. Oh God, I can never remember his last name.
I can't remember the name. Not again. No. We're doing this. Oh, it was Gaddafi earlier. That was the answer I was looking for in the first hour. For Libya, it was Gaddafi.
Okay, now
Thanks to the listener that.
Andy is your friend from Michigan, who he was on our Veterans Day tribute, and I am so Hagren.
Hofgren. I am so sorry.
He is your friend. Come on. Anyway, he is a big proponent for reaching out to veterans. He says, pick up the telephone, give them a call. Right. His organization and what he does is absolutely fabulous. Mike Rogers and Veterans For, he does Veterans for Jobs, and he is big in the PTSD, environment and homelessness, and attempting to get them jobs. These are wonderful organizations. Rather than pass a bill to do that, how about pass a grant, and instead of sending $1 billion down to Guatemala and South America and all those countries to stabilize them so that they'll send more invaders our way to blackmail us again later. You could give me half that money. I'll get the border fence filled. Give the other half to these guys. These guys will use it effectively to help our veterans.
Yeah, you're so right, because the government, the federal government, state government, local, none of them do anything. When's the last time you've heard of the word efficiency, or doing things efficiently, and government coming together, or the one thing that we always talk about? I'm from the government. I'm here to help.
Somebody gets screwed. Somebody always gets screwed. Look at Obamacare. How many people are uninsured? This was going to save 5 million people. Now we have 11 million people that have no insurance.
I know. We all know what Obamacare is not the end all be all, V, and listeners, we know that they want single payer, which is pure outright communism. This is just a step on the road. So they're going to make this hurt as bad as they can, so people demand something different. It's not over yet. I mean,
and all of this ties together, guys. We sit here and we talk about so many topics on a weekly basis, or over the last 3 or 4 months. The fact of the matter is, there is not one of them that is not a part of a puzzle piece with the others.
Right.
Obamacare, the push for communism, for a communist move with your health care system, the disarmament of the people, the disarmament of our military. Let us not forget that our veterans are considered the biggest potential domestic terrorist under this administration. The guys who serve and protect and save our rights, who hold them with their very lives, they're the biggest danger, while the Taliban are just an insurgency.
I was just going to say that. I mean, we just at the beginning of the show, folks, were reading the statement from Hussein Obama, talking about the Jordanian pilot that was burned alive by ISIS. I mean, horrible. And he won't mention ISIS at all. He calls them an organization. But yet Tea Party people are outright attacked by people in the IRS like Lois Lerner, who's still not in jail, by the way, folks, or has never even answered any serious questions. And Tea Party people that love their country but maybe don't agree with the direction that it's going in right now and that are outspoken, they're the ones that are the enemy to this regime. And it's, like I said, up is down, left is right. We're in the twilight zone here. This is bizarre that our own, and I mean, we see it through history, though, that our own government thinks we're a bigger threat than people that are actually a threat. Isn't that something?
Senor, did you think that I wonder how many people in Rome did what you and I do, did what George Corbella does, what Sharon Darrington does, what Christine White does, what James Neighbors does, what so many people that we have been so blessed to come across in a very short period of time, and sometimes over years. You have to wonder how many of those people saw it coming and fought as hard and within the rule of law as we see people today fight what we have going on.
I hope there were a lot of people out there, and I'm sure there were. We don't hear their stories, the unsung heroes, but there have to be people that are against, what's going on. I mean, whether you're talking about, like what you're saying, even Rome or Nazi Germany even, there had to be good people that were speaking out against it. I got to think that there are. Wow. Is that answering the question right? I mean, I just feel whether they're successful or not, that doesn't make any difference. You still have to take a stand.
I think most, I hate to say this, but I think most came with either complacency, oh, that's not going to happen, suffered normalcy bias, which is an actual psychological problem where you think this is as bad as it can't get any worse, and so you adapt and accept than it does. And then, it's an incremental movement, which is, what they did in Germany. And then you had those who, in all honesty, believed like we do, but were, oh man, I can't lose my job. I can't be audited. I can't have them showing up at my door. Folks, they ain't never come to my door. They ain't never come to my door.
No.
They don't mess with me.
Mm-mm.
They don't mess with me. And
although you haven't finished your taxes this year, have you?
Oh, good luck with that. Hey, you want to bring it. I've got a really good attorney. Bring it.
Like I said, but it may be a little too early to tell about that. But
oh, bring it on. Bring it on. Hey, I'm ready for him. I tell you, bring it at me any way you want to.
I mean, I got nothing to hide. I work my butt off, folks, and I make money, and I pay my taxes, and I pay more, and I donate money, and it's a struggle to keep up. It's a struggle when 40% are carrying 60% that are riding on the cart, and it's not getting better anytime soon, and certainly day by day, it's not getting better.
See, I am the government's nightmare. I will be honest with you. I am the government's nightmare. I am that individual who actually believes in what she says, will act upon what she says. My kids are grown, so I got nothing to lose. Bring it. Nothing to hide, nothing to lose. Bring it.
Oh, there we go.
So, we want to go that route. I'm ready to dance.
Well, And with that,
guys, y'all make sure you stick around following our show tonight. We're about to close out here. We sure have enjoyed having our great guest, and we've had a wonderful show tonight. We hope you guys have enjoyed it, and will join us tomorrow night for our different kind of show that we do every week. What the F? Wednesday. Make sure you follow us up tonight and listen to Charles Kaprowitz with State Legislators of the Roundtable. Does a fantastic job with the Counterman Movement and Citizens Initiative. He's just a remarkable man. He has a good roundtable discussion. Quite often, state legislators from across the country join him on that show, and it is always informative and educational. And you will, if you're not behind it, if you listen to his show and you investigate it a little bit, you'll find that it's real easy to get behind it. And in the Overpassers are going to the state capitals. The 27th through the 30th is what they're pushing for, is to get as many people to the state capitol as possible. That would be a good opportunity to go with your sign that demands they sign a countermand. Guys, Jose and I have had a blast. Senor?
No, folks, it's been our pleasure, and it is every night, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, to bring you this show. A labor of love, truly a labor of love. We do it with no ego. We just love making contact with you, getting the information out there, and learning from you as well, because there's so many ways you can interact with us, and many of you do. And I just, as I always close out the show, I got to say God bless America, and thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
Good night, everybody.